as we know, across the country now, 34,000 UAW members are on strike, and that includes workers of Ford, Stellantis, and General Motors.
Hundreds have been laid off for the big three, and new data from NEMA, the Vehicle Suppliers Association, shows that more than a third of parts suppliers have begun layoffs too, with many others preparing to do the same.
So continuing our coverage of the UAW strike now, we are joined once again by Wayne State Professor of Management, Merrick Masters, and also former UAW spokesperson, Brian Rothenberg. Thank you both for being here with us.
Good afternoon.
So this week we saw that the union made that surprise move by not deciding to go with another strike, something we saw last week. As we've mentioned, though, a lot of times we don't really know what kind of moves he's going to make. There's been a bit of a surprise attack tactic that we've been seeing.
Well, I think he figured out that they were getting used to his ritual, and he wanted to mix it up like he has said he was going to do all along. This is part of a continuation of what I would call challenging bargaining. He's challenging the traditional way of doing things. And it's important to remember that he's growing impatient, but the UAW made its first offer at the beginning of August. They waited for more than a month for the companies to come forward with their first offers. And now the companies are complaining that they're in this progressive strike routine. But really, if they just started in sincerity bargaining earlier, they'd probably be done by now.
Well, and that's got to be frustrating. Merrick, as former UAW rep, how do you think now the families are trying to get through the struggle of the no finances and strike?
Well, for those that have been on strike for a while, it's getting rough after about 4 weeks, especially the ones in the beginning. But that is why the president called for people to come out to the strike line and support them. I do think that there was some ways that you could read today. One is he's concerned that people were waiting till the last minute because of these Friday announcements, and therefore the progress was getting slowed by waiting for every Friday. But I also think that what he also said is that he's working and hopes to come to a resolution soon. He did not add more strikes here. And I think, as your reporter had indicated, he also indicated that different companies are at different places because they're usually the pattern set with one company at a time. And so it sounds like they're at a point now where they're at the real serious issues they're trying to finish up, and they're trying to get the agreements to become more patterned because different companies were in different places.
Sure. Brian, follow-up question for you. As this continues to stretch on, we're seeing the impact that it's having and how it's affecting those families, and it is really hurting them. How do you motivate those UAW members to keep going? Obviously, they're hoping to see positive change in the long run, but this is tough.
My experience really in the union is that our families, our members, are very smart. They know their contract. This is really about their contract terms, and they are highly motivated. They're going to stick it out. They understand. Hey, look, they already understand they've made major gains. They just want their fair share, and this is their time to do it just because of the timing of it and the way the economy is for those companies compared to past bargaining.
Yeah, and with that, to piggyback off of what Terrence said, Brian, I was part of a family once that went into a strike. I was in my second trimester, and it came to the point where I said, listen, you got to find another job or something's got to give, because I cannot do this, no money, no health insurance. What do you think? Do you think that we could maybe get to a point where other families of union members are feeling that way?
Well, I do think that no matter what, there's a lot of strain on families, but at least at the UAW's case, there's $500 payments, which is even more than we had in the 2019 strike, because the administration prior to this and under Mr. President Fain has increased that amount to $500 a week. Where it really hurts are the suppliers and other people that are maybe not part of the UAW. If they're union, I think they would get the strike fund, but if they're a non-union facility, they would not, and they're learning right now why unions are so important to protect you.
Merrick, at certain points we see progress being made, then at others it looks like we're back at a standstill. Based on what you're seeing, who do you feel has the power right now, or are we just waiting to see?
Well, I think the UAW now has the power because it's calling the shots and it's able to throw the companies off balance. And it struck a large plant at Ford, and it could very well strike this weekend or within the next 48 hours a large plant at General Motors in Stellantis. I'm thinking the Arlington, Texas plant at General Motors and perhaps the Sterling plant in Michigan at Stellantis if they wanted to inflict commensurate type of pain on both of those companies. It's going to depend on the progress. Stellantis has made an offer yesterday. They're digesting that. If it's a good offer and a made serious project, they probably won't be the target of a strike. But if he doesn't see movement consistently, he's going to take action because the members are going to get frustrated over a period of time. You've already had them out for a month, and it is hardship. Although I would say that the companies, as far as I know, are picking up their health care, which is a big thing for them to do. I
That's
didn't
huge.
expect them actually to do this. I thought they'd play hard and say, we're not going to do this because we think that this is really an unfair tactic. But that eases the pain somewhat, but it's still painful, and it's a life of drudgery. There's nothing glamorous about standing on the picket line day after day after day when you know it's your future. And what motivates you, I think Brian is right, is that this is your future.
Yeah.
If you don't win this battle, it's over. And you've got to pay the price for that, whatever that may be. And they've got to balance things. They know this. The auto workers are very smart. They get it.
Yeah.
They don't need to be told what at stake here. They understand fully, and they understand the grievances that they have and the inequities. Shawn Fain talked about that today. You know, this is really about inequality, which has really widened dramatically over the past several decades as the rich have done very well and everybody else has kind of fallen behind.
There's quite a bit at stake here.
That gets
Professor
old
Masters,
quick.
thank you. Mr. Rothenberg, thank you as well. We'll continue this conversation as we keep watching to see what happens.